Hello everyone. So we are doing an advance. Don't get scared. Advance just means pushing on a little bit, that you've got that basic awareness and control. And often the exercises we start with in our journey, no matter what stage you're at, they have to be at that sort of real just, can I get control of my breath with my pelvic floor? With everything going on. Once you get to that point, then we need to start adding a little bit of weight, because day to day, we're already lifting that weight. So go at your own pace. I'll give you the cues as we go as to how you can pull it back if you need to, how you can push on if you feel able to, but always, always, always follow what your body's telling you. And any questions, then obviously just let me know. So we are going to start off with a few stretches to warm up. So we're actually going to, again, do something slightly more challenging and have a go at more of a downward dog stretch, because it's really good for pelvic floor relaxation, but also to actually start getting a few muscles working. So we'll just start off initially with some deep breaths on our hands and knees. And I want that belly to be fully relaxed. We can often find that we grip our bellies in a little bit if we feel a bit self-conscious, or just because we're not thinking and we're just too busy day to day. So take a few deep breaths into that rib cage. Get the breath right first. Deep breaths in and out. As you take that deep breath in, the belly should soften. And as you breathe back out, everything just falls back in, but you're not consciously doing anything. Keep taking a few deep breaths in and out. Now, we are going to breathe out. Bring your head sort of between your arms if you can. If you need to have a bend in your knees, that's absolutely fine. The main thing is that we get our back as straight as we can. Breathe in, come back down onto hands and knees. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Last one. Breathe in. Now we're going to try and bring a foot forwards. So if you are feeling extra flexible, a little bit further along, you can lift the back leg up into this deep lunge. If you want that bottom knee down, you can untuck the toes. And then I just want you to breathe out as you go. Stretch into that deep lunge position. Breathe in to go back. Breathe out. So if you're up here, we rock back to there. So we get a bit more of a hamstring stretch on the back. Last one on this side. Swapping over to the other side, either from a plank or you're down on your knees. So reaching back. Breathing in to come back. Breathing out. And we're keeping it mobile, we're keeping moving, dynamic, because we're about to do strengthening exercise. And if we just hold static stretches, it doesn't actually prepare our body very well. So if you're running or in the gym, try not to do static stretching before as a warm-up, because it takes the spring out of your muscles and your tendons, so it doesn't really help. Okay, now what I want you to do is to try and step that other foot forwards, if you can, and we're going to come down into as deep a squat as you feel you can. So you might just be here. That's absolutely fine. And I just want you rocking side to side. If you have more flexibility than that and you're able to come down, just keep that chest up for me. If you're here but you're kind of like gripping on somewhere, then come up and rest those elbows on top. So it depends on how flexible you are, but we're just opening up this pelvic floor, putting it on a stretch just to make sure we're nice and relaxed before we get going. So a few more deep breaths, rocking side to side just to get some movement through the ankles as well. Okay, coming up for me. So we are going to start off with, we're going to do a little circuit. Okay, so if you have some equipment, I can't talk, equipment, it would be helpful. So there's different options depending on what you've got. If you've got a little hand weights, a kettlebell, even just a TheraBand. If you don't have any exercise equipment at home, that's fine. You can find just a couple of water bottles or cans of beans, just anything that will add a little bit of resistance. So I'll show you with each exercise how you can use the different pieces of equipment. And then we're going to try and do 3 rounds. Now, if you can only do 1, that's fine. Just stop it after 1. But we will do all 3 whilst we're here, so you can do it along with me. So the first exercise we're going to do is a deadlift. So what you're going to do is have your knees nice and soft, so not locked out, but not bent down here, just soft. We're going to push our bottom back, so you can see how I'm hinging at my hips. I'm not curling from my back. I push my bum towards the wall, so it's like a squat is like sitting in a chair. The deadlift is pushing back. Breathe out to come up. Breathe in to come down. Out to come up. So we're breathing out against the resistance of the weights. If you're using a TheraBand, keep going for me. If you're using the hand weights, you're using a TheraBand, exactly the same. You're pulling up against that resistance. So you're only going to go as deep as you can whilst keeping that hip hinge. We're quite different in our mobility in our hips than our back. So just move within the range you can. Follow your breath. If you get confused with the breath, then you stop, get your breath right, and then re-engage. One more. Right, we're now going to do an arm exercise. We're going to do a bent over row. If you're with your TheraBand, you are going to row. So you're going to keep that hip hinge, breathe out, row back, breathe in, come down. If you are with your hand weights, exactly the same. So think squeezing between those shoulder blades at the back. If you feel like there's any heaviness, is it because you're kind of arching forwards or letting the bum drop right back? Try and keep in quite a neutral position. Stand up again, hinge forwards. If you're in a neutral position, we shouldn't be feeling any vaginal heaviness or kind of pressure at the front of our vagina. If we end up with our pelvis in not a great position, we can do. Exhale on the up. 2 more. And relax. So now, again, if you've got a dumbbell, great. If not, then just hold a pillow or a cushion, med ball, whatever you've got around you, just something to hold. If it's got a bit of resistance, brilliant. Okay, so we're holding our arms up and we're going to do a pullover. So you're going to extend the arms over the back, breathe out, back up to the top. Breathe in. Now that belly, I want to see is nice and flat. You feel connected as you come up. As you come back, your back isn't arching away, is what we're looking for. Now, if you're doing this with a pillow, this is going to be very easy. A weight will make it more challenging, so look for anything around you that has a bit of weight if you don't have a dumbbell. Now, a couple more, and then we're going to lift the legs up if we can. So, bring the legs up into a tabletop position. Exactly the same. The position of your back shouldn't move just because the legs have lifted up. Breathing out to center. If that's too hard, just do one leg. Do a couple on one side and swap over to the other. Couple more. And then we're going to hold whatever we've got in our hands above our heads. And we're going to lower the knees to one side. Breathe out to center. Breathe in to go out to the side. Breathe out to center. You should feel this in your lower abdominals. So I want your shoulder blades should be flat to the floor. They should not come off. But one hip is lifting off the floor. Use your breath to bring you back. And I want you to keep those arms as still as possible. I don't want the weight moving as like a counterweight and you're actually just shifting side to side and using the momentum. Control it from your lower abdominals. One more each side. And relax down. Okay, we're going back to the first one. So no rest for the wicked. Let's have a stand up and get going. So back to our deadlift. Soft knees, breathe in. Breathe out to the top. Breathe in. And if you can see what my belly is doing as I go, it draws in as I come back up. And I relax on the way down. As long as the weight isn't too heavy, we can relax on the way down. If we feel like we're getting any sort of pressure downwards, or we feel like our tummy's really pushing outwards on the way down rather than relaxing, then you're going to try and keep a more active breath and maintain that tension as you go. But with just adding a bit of weight, you should be fine to relax. Once we start getting above sort of 15, 20 kilograms, you're probably going to have to move to that active core breath. 2 more. And now we're moving to our bent over row. And again, you can look at my tummy. Belly pump as I draw up. And I kind of anticipate it a little bit and the belly goes up before the arms do. But as long as you feel supported, don't overthink it too much. By the time you're doing this workout, you should be pretty confident with your breath. So you shouldn't be still struggling to coordinate. If you are, then look at some of the earlier classes and continue those for a bit and have a chat to me about it. The last one. And relax. Have a lie down on your back. Get your weight over your head. And then we're starting off with just the arms. And really try and use that strong exhale to draw the arms up. It's not the arms really doing it. Shouldn't feel like it's that hard to do with the arms, because it should be a draw from that breath and from your pelvic floor and your abdominals, giving that base, foundation, whatever I'm talking about, to draw up. One more. And now let's bring those legs up into tabletop. Exactly the same. But keep that back still. If we're finding it hard and our back's starting to come away, then just place a foot down, do 2 on one side, and then swap over. Listen to what your body can do. 2 more. The last one, and then we're twisting in the legs. So lower back on one side comes off. Breathe out to center. Breathe into the side. Breathe out to center. Keep it as still as possible in the arms and the upper body. Those shoulder blades should not come away. If your core isn't controlling it, then the shoulder blade of the side that you're lifting, the hip that you're lifting, will also come up. Have a look down for any doming or coning down the center. If it's just mild, and when you feel it, it feels quite soft, then I'm okay with you still doing it as long as you're more than 12 weeks postnatal. One more each side. And relax. Okay, straight back in. I told you we were doing 3 rounds. And I'm trying not to go past a half an hour class. We're fine. We're only like 20 minutes in. We've got loads we're going to do extra. Okay, so breathing in. Breathing out. So ideally you do feel a bit of a stretch in the hamstrings at the bottom of that movement. And then you're drawing up. Work with the range you have. If we just go to here, that's absolutely fine. I'd rather that than you get to there and then we're all just from that back, and actually you can see my hips aren't moving there. Stick that bum towards the wall. Two more. Coming forward, and we're going to our row. So forget that pelvic floor in all of this. We should, as we exhale, be lifting that pelvic floor. But by the time you're doing more advanced classes, that should be happening automatically to a certain extent. So if you check in with it, if you can't feel your pelvic floor as you breathe out, then just cue it to lift that pelvic floor. As we start to make the exercises more challenging with weight, we do need to make sure that pelvic floor is still switching on. Draw between those shoulder blades. Pinch those shoulder blades together on the up. Two more. All right. Last core lock, guys. Have a lie down on that back. Make sure you're not going to hit anything. And then the arms are going over. Breathe in to come back. Out to center. As you start getting tired, particularly in those abdominals and the pelvic floor, that's where you've really got to focus and make sure we're still managing all that pressure well. We do want to be like finding it hard at this point. And if you aren't, then maybe next time you need to increase the weight. Right, we're going to lift the legs up. If you just want to do one, that's absolutely fine. If you feel a bit in between having one arm, one leg down and 2 legs down, or 2 legs up, then you can just do a toe as well. If you feel like you need a little bit of support, but you don't need the full foot on the floor, then you can just hover a toe. And again, just make sure you do swap over. Last one. Now let's twist in the back. Out to the side. Breathe out to center. Really work on controlling it. As we get tired, we tend to want to speed up. Keep it slow, because then you know that your core is controlling it. Your lower abs should be what you are feeling here, as well as some hip flexes at the front of your thighs. It is okay as well to feel this one a little bit in your lower back. We're twisting in your lower back and the muscles in your lower back are having to work. That's fine. One more each side. And relax down. Well done. Okay then, so that's our little three-rounded circuit. What we are going to do as just a little finisher, just because, hey, why not? We're here. Oh, verify Microsoft Outlook. That's never good. Why is everything popping up? I don't want that. Hopefully that all goes away. So what we're going to do as a little bit of a finisher is just trying to get our heart rates up a bit. So the early postnatal recovery is really quite dull if you're someone who does enjoy exercise and does enjoy getting out of breath, because your pelvic floor and your abdominals are sort of your limiting factor, and therefore you can kind of feel like you're not working that hard. You are working hard, just working on something different than fitness. But we can start to push yourself a little bit more, start to get some of that fitness up again. So with that being said, what we are going to do, there's going to be a couple of impact versions and a couple of non-impact versions that I can go through as well. So we are going to do, breathe in. This is the side to side one. If lifting up the leg makes you feel a little bit insecure in the undercarriage, then come up and you can just do a leg raise. Keep the legs a little bit not so wide apart. Keep going for me. If you have done your return to impact tests, then there is an impact version for this next exercise. One more each side. Okay, so next we're going to do squat drops and with a jump if you can. So drop and up like this if you're not doing impact. If you are, you're going to drop, jump, drop, jump. So get a twist in there as well. If you want to just do a bit of a power up, if you're a little bit in between, then you can do that as well. Try not to fall over. So you can either jump, just drop. Think exhale on the up still, no matter what version you're doing. If you're just dropping, if you're powering up, if you're jumping up. One more each side. Okay, and then we're going to go back to our squat and side. Oh, what a lovely way to spend a Wednesday evening. Stick with me, guys. We're doing 3 rounds, but you're good. Got to wear my watch, so I'm counting in my head. One more each side. Let's do our squat drop. So as you get tired as well, your pelvic floor will find it harder. I don't want you pushing in to feeling insecure down below or any pain, and you're definitely not jumping if you've not done your return to impact test with me. If you feel like you're nearly getting there, then as I said, you can start doing a power up. That's where you just come up onto your toes. Didn't explain that. As if you're going to jump, but you don't. And obviously, jumping, if you can, low impact is fine. One more each side. Last round, guys. Down to the squat sides. So I've worked your legs with your deadlifts. We've worked your core. And now we're working your fitness. And that's how you build back up. You're doing running. You bulletproof that whole system. Obviously, the quicker you go with these movements, the more fitness it makes it harder. If you want to slow it down, I don't want you to slow it down because you're out of breath. If you feel like you're not controlling it in your abdominals or your pelvic floor, slow it down. If you're just out of breath, keep going. One more each side. Let's go to our squat drops. Last one. My excuse for not jumping is up my child is just the other side of that wall. Sleeping. Shaking out of the bed. Although I always think it feels a bit louder to you than it probably is to them. Remember, powering up if you can, you will get a burn in those legs when you start adding a power up. Here you go. Final push. One more. Last one. Oh, thank you. Oh, well done, guys. Well done. That was a bit more challenging, wasn't it? Then you lie on your back and let's just breathe. That's what we need. It's so what we need. That's why I did the advanced class this month, because all of you are at that stage now. Well, you need to start pushing on a bit. I'll say all of you. There's a couple of you who, who are a bit earlier postnatal. Then you're probably not doing the class this week, so I told you to do one of the others. If you're doing this class, it's because I want you pushing on. So, hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go sit down and have a drink. Any questions, let me know. If you have any sort of heaviness after doing something a bit hard like this, or pain, any of your dysfunction stuff, if any of it gets worse, not just like during the workout, but up to 24 hours afterwards, then you've just probably pushed it a little bit too much. Don't panic. It's just the muscles going, oh, I really struggled. So it's just always finding out about where you're at. And the ultimate goal is to always stay just below what our body can achieve, because then we're going to get improvements as quickly as possible. So any worries, concerns, questions, just want to chat, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you for the live class next month. Au revoir.